Alright, you all have asked for it. You want a breeding guide and a IV-EV guide? We're going to give you one in hopefully 20 minutes or less. Let's do it. Alright guys, we are back in Pokemon Sword and Shield. We're sitting in the Isle of Armor right in front of the lovely dojo right here. And we have our lovely Alolan Riachu here that I actually have transferred up from Pokemon Go. So this is a shiny Alolan Riachu that I picked up, and I wanted to make it battle ready for the Galar region. So I'm going to walk you guys through essentially all the steps in order to get this Pokemon to be ready to battle in the VGC level play in the Galar region. Shall we get started? First thing that is important here is the battle ready mark. The battle ready mark actually comes all the way from the main area up in the battle tower in Winden. So we're going to fly there, we're going to head inside, and then you're going to walk in, you're going to talk to this gentleman right here. This gentleman lets you get a specific mark, and I will show you it right now because we've already done this step on Raichu. You will see a certain mark that pops up on it. It is that second mark there, the G, the Galar mark as I'd like to call it, which signifies that this Pokemon has come in from a different game, but is marked to be ready for combat in the Galar region. Obviously, you can tell that any of the moves that it previously had that were potentially a non-allowed move in the current generation would be removed at this point. Thankfully, we just had very standard moveset for the Raichu when we brought it in, so no issues there. It will prompt you to say that any moves that are illegal for the Pokemon to have in the current generation will be removed. Next up, guys, is actually the next simplest one, which is get Raichu to level 100. And everybody's gonna go, but wait, Jason, the moves, the various things it can learn, what if I miss something? Don't worry, we got you covered. The big thing that I do here when getting a Pokemon to level 100 is I do raids. I don't do them publicly, I just spend a morning, an hour of my time just running around the Isle of Armor and doing raids. I just did that this morning, and with a quick sort of my candy by type here, you'll actually see I've accumulated more than enough candy to easily get Raichu to level 100. So we're going to do that right now. We're just going to dump all the extra large candy, get him straight to 85, no issue. And then we're going to dump all the large candy. We don't even use all the large candy. Raichu's now level 100. This is important for doing IV training of your Pokemon that you do bring into the Galar region. Obviously, if you're breeding, you have the chance to get perfect IVs. We can talk about that in a separate video, but for this sake of argument here, we're going to make sure that we get Raichu to level 100, because we're going to do what is called the bottle capping method. Next thing we're going to do before we forget is we're going to use those Dynamax candies, because everybody tends to forget this step. We're going to get 10 Dynamax candies onto Raichu. That way his health is maxed out if we decide to Dynamax him. We might not. Doesn't really matter. Step number 3 is taking a look at Raichu's IVs, just to make sure that he's either in a single or 2 to 3 bottle cap stats, or whether we need to use a golden one. So if you come in and you have the Judgment tool, if you don't have the Judgment tool, you have to play through the Battle Tower and beat Leon, and you will get it automatically. You can see Raichu's stats right here. He has 1 perfect IV and 5 bad ones. He doesn't need all 6 to be perfect. You can actually ignore his attack stat, because that's how you play an Alolan Riachu. But for sake of argument here, this is the perfect use of a golden bottle cap, where we're going to maximize every stat. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly all the way back to Winden, and I'll see you guys there. Alright, we're back in Winden now at the Battle Tower. Let's head on in. We're going to go see one of my favorite people, this gentleman over here, who is our hyper training expert. We're going to talk to him, we're going to tell him we want to hyper train Raichu. We're going to use one of our 4 golden bottle caps, as you saw, and we're going to maximize every stat he has, except for the speed, which is already maximized. So we're going to start the training, use one of those gold bottle caps, and now Raichu is strong, as he says. So now I'll go take a look at it again, just in the PC box, use the Judgment tool, and now you can see HP, attack, defense, special defense, all hyper trained. That means that it's maximized its potential. Obviously, as we've talked about before, if you're playing for Trick Room, you want no speed to be the best option. So instead of wanting best in that location, you'd want no good. A no good speed tier for a Trick Room Pokemon is the best, because that means it is the slowest it can possibly be. And then you can use berries to make sure that you get its stats down to nothing. Alright, next up, we go back to the Isle of Armor, and we talk about EVs. Let's head. Guys, before we get to the Isle of Armor, I wanted to take a split second to remind you of two important things. One, if you don't have the Isle of Armor DLC, you are not screwed over here. And two, this method is usable, obviously, either location. The Isle of Armor is cheaper, which is why I referenced to go there back and forth immediately, because that's the important spot to get cheaper EV vitamins. We'll go into the main shop at Winden. I'll pull it up on the map really quick just to show you where we are. In case you don't have the Isle of Armor DC, you want to fly to Winden right here. It's to the main Pokemon Center. We're going to walk in, and we're going to talk to this gentleman here on the right-hand side. He will have all of the vitamins available for purchase. You've got your HP ups, your proteins, your calciums, everything. These vitamins are what you do to maximize your Pokemon's EVs, or their potential for damage, speed, special defense, special attack, etc. Each one coincides with an EV that your Pokemon can have. At max, you can drink or eat. I don't know whether these are actual vitamins or not. They always look like protein drinks to me, so I usually say drink. At max, you can use 26 in 2 different stats, and 1 left over on whatever stat. So if you think about the EV potentials for a Pokemon, you can do 26, 26, and then 1. That is the major usage of EVs. Now, building EV spreads and stuff, I would not suggest you waste time looking for it in this video, because I'm not going to provide you a full breakdown, but my suggestion would be to go out to PokemonShowdown.com and go to their team builder and put in the Pokemon and start playing around with the stats. If you're building it to be just a full competitive VGC, my comment is maximize 2 stats and put 1 left over in either HP, depending on whether you're making an odd HP number, or into special defense. That is the usual team comp build. And this is varying depending on what the Pokemon does. As I said before, Raichu's a special attacker in its Alolan form, and it's also meant to be really fast, whether it's on surge surfing with the electric terrain or just in general. So what we're going to actually be buying is the calciums and the carbos. We're going to get 26 of both of those. You can see we have a couple in the bag already, but we're going to maximize out those 2 stats, and then the base one will be depending on what the HP stat is. So let's go look at that one really quickly, just because we're here. We can see our HP stat right now is at 261, so we'd like to keep that odd, so we'll probably put the last vitamin into special defense at that point. The only reason we keep stats at an odd number is for things like toxic or burns or any other health removal debuff, because if you remove the health down to an odd number, it will always land you at 1 HP instead of 0 if you start to tick down that low in health. Alright, back to the Isle of Armor. Alright, we are back at the dojo. We're going to head on in. There are prerequisites to get this to be accessible in the dojo. I'll run through them real quick right here. You want to talk to Honey after you beat the story mode, and she'll ask you to donate watts. As you continue to donate watts, you'll get access to things in the dojo, like the Pokemon Center here, and being able to change clothes, and your hair and makeup, and the PC right here. But at some point, you will get these vending machines put in. One vending machine right here on the right has just the basic soda pop, lemonade, and fresh water. But this vitamin machine right here actually gives you the vitamins that you have in the store at half price. So you saw they were 10 grand out in Winden. Now they are only 5 grand here. So as we talked about before, we wanted calcium to maximize special attack. We're going to buy 25 of them. The machine's going to chunk them out. Be careful here, because if you press A again on buy more, it'll pop yet another 26, and I've done this far too many times. We're going to click buy something else. We're going to not do protein. We're going to click on carbos to get our speed stat. We're going to buy 25 of those. We already had a couple left over in the bag, so we should be good there. And then we're also going to... You guys remember when I told you not to double tap that button really quick? There you go. There's why. I just bought 26 more carbos, or 25. And then finally, we are going to go and buy 1 zinc for special defense. And that is it. That's all we need. So now we have all the items in bulk that we needed to maximize the stats of Pokemon. So we're going to go to our bag again. We're going to scroll to the other items section. I always suggest sort by name if you're looking for the items, just because you probably remember the name more than anything. You can see the calciums right here. We're going to grab 26 of them. You'll see when I click on it, we have 27 available. You click on the Pokemon and you hit the down arrow once. It maximizes out at 26 because that is the maximum your Pokemon can accept these EVs. We use all 26 of them. And then, just like before, Carbos, as I said, is the speed one. We got plenty of them now because we double tap that button. 26 of those go in. Now we have both maximized the special attack and the speed of Alolan Riachu. Finally, we did buy 1 zinc, so I'm going to actually roll all the way up and then back to the bottom. We had a couple already, oh well. And we're going to click on that, and we're going to give Raichu 1 zinc as well to raise its special defense. Now what you want to do to double check to make sure you've maximized your Pokemon's potential and stats is once again, go into the PC, take a look. We now see fully hyper trained across the board, along with the 1 perfect stat already. We see its Dynamax level on the far right hand side fully maxed out, and then you'll come into the Pokemon summary screen right here. You'll scroll over 1 to its stat screen, and then you'll press the X button on your controller, and you can actually see the special attack and the speed are both sparkling. That means you have maximized the EVs on this Pokemon. That means they can't be any higher. It is maxed out. And then the other thing I would suggest is if you have Pokemon Showdown up and you've been checking your numbers and checking your stats and seeing what the Pokemon's potential could really be, you can actually cross-check these numbers. So you see we have 261 HP. You can make an Alolan Riachu at level 100 on Pokemon Showdown and double check HP stat matches exactly what it does on Showdown, because it should be a 1-to-1 match for every one of these statistics here. Guys, that is it. We just took in about 12 minutes a Alolan Riachu we just transferred in from Pokemon Go to Let's Go Pokemon Eevee and Pikachu to Sword and Shield. We got it ready for the Galar region to be playable in the VGC level content, maximized its IVs, maximized its EVs. That's all it takes. That's all there is to it. It is very straightforward, very quick to do now. As always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure you're clicking that subscribe button up here, and make sure you're checking out our VGC Climb to Master Ball from July. That was a great series to run, and we might be running a new one soon. Possibly even with Raichu. We'll find out together. Have a good one, guys. Peace.